Who the hell do you think you are just because you wear a damn judge's robe? You think you can order me around? That's what Travis Brantley screamed, right in the face of Judge Malcolm Varelli in open court. Then, as if he was some old-time schoolmaster disciplining a misbehaving kid, he slapped the judge across the face. You might think, no way that really happened. But yeah, that happened right there in the United States courtroom, and let me tell you, that slap did more than sting. It lit the fuse on a chain reaction that ended up tightening a noose around the very system Travis thought would always protect him. A system that let men like him strut through the world untouched, even while everyone else held their breath. You want to know how it all blew up? Well, buckle up, because this time justice didn't stop until the whole rotten foundation got exposed. The week started quiet, just another Monday morning in a concrete courthouse somewhere down south. The docket said it was nothing but a 16-year-old black kid, Jalen Ford, charged with obstructing a law enforcement officer, his real crime being he looked the wrong way at the wrong guy. Jalen sat hunched in an oversized shirt, his head low, trying to make himself small enough to disappear. But everyone in the room could feel it had a mix of fear and defiance hanging off him like a second skin. When the key witness arrived, Officer Travis Brantley, you could almost hear the temperature drop. He walked in slow and heavy, beige patrol suit starched, so stiff his chest looked twice as wide as any normal man's. Black boots hitting the floor with that kind of authority you only get when you've spent years making other people flinch. He didn't need an introduction. His nameplate Brantley was enough. Just being there, he shifted the mood from idle to everyone better pay attention. Judge Malcolm Varelli didn't do much, didn't bang the gavel, didn't raise his voice, didn't even frown. All it took was the way he watched, calm as ice, and you'd see people sit up straighter as if the very air expected more from them. But Travis? He slouched, legs kicked out, arms sprawled. Looking at Malcolm like the old man was nothing more than an obstacle to step over. Officer Brantley, tell us what happened that night. Malcolm said, voice flat but firm. Travis just clicked his tongue, shrugged, and rattled off his version routine patrol. Teenagers on the sidewalk, told them to move. Jalen wouldn't break eye contact. That attitude was enough to assess a threat, Travis said, like he was quoting a manual. Malcolm asked, can you clarify what made you see him as a threat? The look, Travis replied, deadpan. In my line of work, a look like that is the first sign of trouble. The whole room got a little tighter, like everyone was waiting for someone to say what they were thinking. Malcolm kept his gaze level, not blinking. You're telling me you judged a 16-year-old a threat because of a look? Exactly, said Travis, with just a flicker of annoyance. So you ordered him to lower his head and take his hands out of his pockets. He didn't comply. You put your hand on his shoulder. He resisted, so you took him down. How tall is Jalen? 5'3", Travis replied, not missing a beat. And you? 6'3". No one spoke, but the numbers hung in the air like a dare. Malcolm closed his notebook, his eyes getting sharper. Thank you, Officer Brantley. We'll compare your account to the video and witness statements. And that's when things started to shift. Because when a judge records every word, especially the ones you think don't matter, you better believe it's not going to end the way you expect. Through the whole testimony, Travis didn't waver, didn't sweat. It's standard procedure, he kept saying, reciting from the script all cops know by heart. But Malcolm wasn't buying it. How long did you hold the boy on the ground? 10, maybe 12 seconds, just enough to get control. Was he armed? No, Travis replied. Did you know that before or after pinning him down? After, but I had to act before anything could go wrong. You could feel the tension build, like the court itself was holding its breath. So tell me, Malcolm asked, what exactly makes a kid like Jalen a threat? Travis started to sound defensive, almost offended at the question. I've seen a lot of incidents start from hands in pockets, standing still, no response if that's early warning. You acted fast. Was it your professional reflex? Malcolm asked quietly. Or was it something else like his skin color? Travis stiffened, searching for words he'd never needed before. I responded to the situation, not to race, he managed, but the air had changed. Everybody knew it. Malcolm pressed on, bringing up another case last year, a white teenage girl. Same refusal, same supposed threat, but no takedown, no ground pin. Every situation is different, Travis insisted. Justice, Malcolm said, can't change depending on who's in front of you. It wasn't loud, but it echoed because you could see in that room some folks were finally hearing the truth said out loud for the first time. That's when Travis made the mistake that changed everything. We deal with these people every day, he said. Not quietly, not to himself, but right there in front of everyone. His voice wasn't just condescending, it was a confession, a line drawn clear as day between who gets watched and who does the watching. After that, things happened fast. Travis, so used to barking orders, couldn't see the ground shifting under his feet. The judge paused the hearing to review the footage. In the hallway, as Travis was dragging Jalen by the shirt like some captured animal, someone recorded it on their phone. The video went online before Travis even realized it, and within hours, the story was everywhere. A child, a mother's scream, a uniform dragging both dignity and hope down a courthouse corridor. No context, no fancy editing, just the plain fact of a system acting exactly how it was built to act. Is this justice? People asked. Or is it just training camp for another generation of fear? Protesters showed up, not with speeches, but with handwritten signs. Hands off our kids, justice doesn't drag. You fear what you never try to understand. Inside, Malcolm Varelli watched the dominoes fall. He called up old case files, asked his team to look for patterns of misconduct, erased footage, witness statements quietly buried. He wrote a personal memo and brought it to the State Judicial Council, laying it all out. When a system refuses to revisit errors that endanger lives, we're not delivering justice, we're protecting ourselves. For the first time, he bypassed the rules. When they tried to shut him down, saying it was out of jurisdiction, telling him to keep quiet, refused. The framework was built for justice, not to cage it, he said, and started an independent investigation. Renee Marshall, a journalist who'd been stopped and searched by Travis years ago, started digging too. Her reporting, Brantley's shadow files, exposed years of complaints, all dismissed with the same empty phrase, handled internally. Every story, students, workers, mothers, ended the same way. Silence labeled resolved. But this time, people weren't going to let it go. Renee got warnings, anonymous emails. Don't touch Mercer's man. You're out of your depth. Even Malcolm got one. But the threats just made them dig deeper, connect the names, trace the lies. It all came to a head when Tanya Ford, Jalen's mother, walked straight into the courtroom. No appointment, no lawyer, just fury and the kind of dignity only a mother who's lost too much can carry. She stood, eyes locked on the judge. What value does our cooperation hold? She asked, when even a glance can be deemed a crime. No one answered, but Malcolm did something. Murray called for the original, unedited surveillance footage. No more hiding. The next session, Malcolm moved the trial to the biggest hall, let the media in, and told everyone, we're not doing this in the dark. Justice can't be rebuilt behind closed doors. Witness after witness, Micah Green, Raymond Ellis, Amamira Johnson, stood up and told their stories. Malcolm didn't just listen. He made it clear, the brave ones aren't those with a badge, but those who stand their ground in the empty hallway. When Travis tried to threaten Micah, I'll come back to your neighborhood, Malcolm stopped him cold. If you still want to threaten someone, threaten me. I'm the one who defines right and wrong. That's when Travis, cornered and furious, lost all control. Who do you think you are? He shouted, and then that slap. For a second, the world went silent. Malcolm turned his face back, red mark burning, but his eyes never changed. You didn't hit a man, he said. You struck at the very meaning of justice. Security moved to arrest Travis, but Malcolm made sure every step was by the book, every word recorded, every consequence earned. The fallout was immediate. Travis was indicted and taken into custody. The video of his slap replayed on national news. Captain Mercer tried to run interference, but Malcolm shut him down. Power has no right to be impulsive, especially when it thinks it decides who deserves dignity. Protesters showed up with a new sign: one slap, one wake. People read the names of the forgotten and refused to look away. Law students, old judges, officers who once thought silence was loyalty, one by one, they started speaking out. Cameron Liu, a junior staffer, found the evidence that broke open an old death in custodia black teenager, Malik Crooms, whose file had been doctored and buried. Renee broadcast the story, and the case was finally reopened. And the judge? He turned down a Supreme Court seat, writing, "I cannot step onto a higher bench while justice is trampled beneath it." He stayed right where he was because sometimes justice needs someone who won't leave, even when they could rise higher. He could have stood taller, people said, but he chose to stand closer to the truth. So now, let me ask you, when justice finally lands a slap back at the very system that abused it, is that revenge, or is that the first breath of something new? Would you rather have a hero on a pedestal, or someone who's willing to stand in the mess and not look away? That's the real question, and if you've got an answer, drop it below, because maybe it's time we stop letting silence speak for us.